Hello, hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. So I have my Instagram live going and everybody's commenting and they heard me say we have Ciroc. And they said how irresponsible we know the Jack Daniels rules. Yes, Richie, if you're a Jack Daniels guy. So I do have an amazing guest, but I want to take care of a couple of things first that are very close and personal to me. So if you don't mind giving me just one moment to go over a couple of things, please. So I want to first give a shout out to Kaz, who is my producer, and he is being interviewed today. And so I just wanted to wish him well and good luck and all that fun stuff. I also have something that happened in Fort Lee yesterday. If anyone is aware, there, if you haven't heard by now, there was a devastating fire in Fort Lee, which many people lost their homes. And I wanted to send heartfelt wishes to everyone involved and to the wonderful firefighters and police men who were able to battle this fire with only just a few minor injuries. But what the wonderful people at Dining Out Jersey Magazine and Linda Barber of Linda's List are doing are putting together a fundraiser to help these families out. So please follow Linda Barber at Linda's List here on Instagram for details. And one last thing I would like to do is one of our own lost someone very close and dear to them. So I just want to do a quick moment of silence for them and say we're thinking of you and we love you very much. So thank you very much for allowing me to do this. And okay, let's get back to the fun stuff and why we're here today. Alrighty. Okay, so I'm going to turn my camera around because there's enough looking at my mug. We're going to look at my guest. And I want to welcome Silvana. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
This is Silvana Ximena.
Mm-hmm.
I said it right?
Yeah.
Oh,
perfect.
yay. So you are a photographer, but I have a little of a bio. I did a little digging on your website, and you have an amazing About You page. And you were born in Peru, and you are the daughter of a renowned cameraman and journalist.
Yeah.
Here in New York, yes?
Yeah, my mother worked for the Associated Press for 30 years. She retired a couple years back. I'm not sure how many years.
Good for
the
her.
years
That's
are flying
amazing.
by. Yeah.
What kind of an amazing ride that was that for you being the daughter of someone like this?
I mean, she's got amazing stories. I'm only learning to appreciate them now because, I mean, it was, you don't really appreciate your parents until you're become a parent or you're of a certain age where you can really be like, wow, you have an incredible life,
right?
But she's always impressed everyone that she meets, and they're like, this is your mom. I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
Always take it as a compliment.
Yeah.
It's their problem if it's not.
But yeah, she's had an incredible life. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you were raised in Brooklyn. So when you came here from Peru, did you go directly to, obviously New York City? Did you go directly to Brooklyn?
Yeah, my mother had a place in Park Slope, and then she bought a house in Red Hook. So we've been living there for many years.
How cool is that?
Yeah, she still has a house there.
I love that. I do. I'm like, I didn't grow up in New York. I only lived in New York for a brief stint with my husband, and so it's always been so cool to me when someone was actually raised in.
Where were you raised?
I'm a Jersey girl.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, I am a Jersey girl. Thank you for not knowing that.
I had no idea. I thought you were like Manhattan, like Erica, just like born and raised.
Thank you. That makes me so good. That means I have that New York in me, like my husband has always said. Thank you.
Definitely.
So you are a graduate of Alfred University,
Yes.
where you received your undergrad in fine arts.
Yeah, concentration in fine arts. Yeah.
And so I love this one.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Bachelor's in fine arts, concentration in photography.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and
So many
obviously-
years ago, I forgot.
You're right. It is a long time
Yeah.
ago. You don't even think about it.
It's
Well,
flying.
so your tagline on there was that you do everything you need to get that shot.
Yeah.
And that's why I chose the picture I did for the promo where you're standing. I don't know what you were standing on.
This is a table.
A table?
Yeah.
And you were like, you had that aerial view, like, not even like a ladder. Like most photographers will just get up on a safe ladder and have someone. No, you're on some table.
Radiators, whatever you got to get on.
Amazing. Yep. So you actually live to your word. It's not just
for show. I mean, it's definitely not as much as when I was younger. I played a little safer sometimes, but yeah, I'm always climbing on things or like hanging off the wall as much as I can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I remember. I'm getting ahead of myself because I want to talk about my wedding. So you are an international photographer, and you have shot a variety of subjects across 5 continents. And I think the most memorable for me was the shot that whomever took of you taking photos on a camel in Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
That is one of my most favorite
With
shots.
Erica, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd still want to go to Egypt because of that picture.
I don't even know who took that. I think Erica took that
Oh,
photo.
really?
Yeah, Erica took that
it's
photo.
one of my most favorite shots of the photographer doing her thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That was an incredible experience.
So where else have you gone besides, well, Egypt?
Australia. I've been to various places in South America. My only, my goal for like the past 3 years and trying to make it happen this year is Asia, anywhere in Asia. There's so many places I want to go in Asia. So right now it's just whatever place will let me in, like as a, an American. But yeah, and I guess last would be Antarctica, but my goal is to do all 7
It's
continents.
cold up there.
Yeah, but I mean, there's gotta be something there, right? Like something to photograph.
My only issue is that it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. I prefer the cold over the heat.
Really?
I mean, so my mother actually was working on a documentary. She still is. And I was her photographer. It was in the high Andes of Peru.
Oh, wow.
And they don't have heat. They don't have electricity. It was so cold. It was just like, and it's high in the Andes. You have trouble breathing, but it was such an incredible experience. And I mean, yeah, you just put all those layers on. You drink a shot before sleep.
With all those layers, how did you move?
I mean, you're not worried about moving. You're worried about because it's still so cold. But you just make it work. It was the most incredible experience of my life, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome to be able to tell stories like that. By
and it's so many years ago. Like I'm looking forward to going back. Like she wants to get back on it. It was very difficult finding funding. It was it's part of the name is Uchura High, and it's part of it's a very political, and journalists that were murdered back in 1983, friends of my mother's.
Oh, wow.
So it's a passion project for her, finding the answers of who did it. But yeah, it's a lot of people don't want to touch it.
Of course not.
It can be, it's a little dangerous. But one day maybe we'll find the answer. We might know the answers. Maybe I'm telling too much, so I'm just going to stop now.
Okay.
We just got to document the answers, document more.
Well, good luck on that project, and I look forward to hopefully seeing that one day.
Yeah, you could check out the trailer. It's www.uchurahigh.com. It's UCHURRAY.com.
Okay.
I believe I spelled that right.
Well, I'll put it on the page later on so that people can come back to it if they do want to check that out.
Yeah.
So with all of these, adventures that you've had, you came to realize that your passion in photography laid in doing wedding shoots, and mine was one of them.
Yeah, your wedding. 2007?
2008.
2008. Yeah.
Yeah, long time ago. And it was
such an intimate.
It was super intimate. It was very small. I remember I started as soon as the pastor. We didn't have a priest. We had a pastor say, we gather here. The tears just started streaming down my face. It wasn't even 1 second in, and I was like, all I kept thinking was like the fucking pictures.
Oh no, that's the best part. Well, for me, it's the best part of catching those tears. This is why I do weddings. I'm a helpless, hopeless romantic, I guess you could say. So to me, like living vicariously through my brides or my clients, grooms, it's very important for me to capture those moments as if it were my own.
And you did that well. Like, so going back to like your acrobatics, you did that too, because we were coming down the stairs. So we were married in Manhattan in an apartment building, and luckily the apartment building had these beautiful stairs that we were coming down, and you were literally like, wait there, and like you like Spider-Man'd yourself in the corner of the stairs so that you could take this picture. And I wanted it so much to come out so beautifully, but I was not happy with how I personally looked because of my weight. And I speak about my weight loss journey very vividly with anyone who'll listen, because I was not happy.
Yeah.
And it really sucks because those are so cool, the shots that you were getting, but you can see on my face I was not happy.
Well, you had me work on some
Oh yeah,
Photoshop.
I was like,
became-
can you make my cheeks smaller? I remember this conversation. Can you make my cheeks smaller? I'm vain. We all know this.
There's nothing wrong with that. And this is why, as a female photographer, I love, when my clients have those requests, I have no problem. For me, it's, it's skills that I learned in college. I took Photoshop classes. I continue to, hone my skills, and I want it's my art. I try to capture the best, or the best angles. And if you're not happy with it, then it was for nothing. So to me, I need to fix something, especially in like my boudoir shoots, you need me to fix something, I have no problem doing that. But I will never just do it on my own.
Right.
Because everyone has their own idea of what is a flaw, especially in this society that we live in, where with this Instagram life of beauty, which
filters.
is very filters, very unrealistic. But it's all about you. It's how you feel.
From you. Yeah.
And
I
how
agree.
if you view yourself.
Right.
And if you don't see yourself as this beautiful being, then I will do what I can. But there is one thing that I remember. I don't know whose page or what. It was a photographer's page, and she had photographed this wife, and she was doing a shoot for her husband, and she had done all this Photoshop and fixed any kind of dimples or whatever she wanted, liquefy here or there. And he wrote to the photographer and said, and I hope I don't cry, but he said, please remove all of the editing you did. This is my wife. We have 3 beautiful children together. This is her, and I love her as she is. And I don't want to cry.
Don't cry.
It was the most beautiful thing. So to me, it's very important. I want to please my client, but I also want to empower them, because they are beautiful, no matter what another person thinks, if they're overweight. I mean, everyone thinks they're overweight.
Yes.
You have to love yourself, and I can't force that. And I will do whatever I can to make my client happy, but I also try to let them know, like, this is beautiful. Yes. You are beautiful. And I hope
that comes from within. So now I've gotten to that point where if, he could tell me till I'm blue in the face that he thinks I look great. If I don't think I look great, it doesn't matter if the entire world thinks I look great.
I have friends that say the exact same thing.
That's where
I totally see it. I've had many, many years of insecurities, of just hating, not even wanting to look in the mirror. And it's funny because I can literally tell someone, empower them, and say this and that, and then I'm looking myself and I bash myself more than anything. But I try to spend more time in front of the mirror and just affirmations.
Yeah.
I think they're very important. We didn't grow up with that.
No.
If anything, it's like, don't look at yourself in the mirror, because you're going to
be thought of as
conceited.
Vain. Yeah.
But hopefully this next generation doesn't go too far and everyone's staring in the mirror. But there is a fine line. Everything in moderation. You need to love yourself.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter who tells you. Like, I don't sit there and tell my daughter, "You're beautiful. You're beautiful." No, it's not. Do you feel beautiful, or do you feel like you're smart? You're strong. That's priority.
Right.
It's not about being beautiful, but you do want to be able to love yourself. That's most important.
I agree. We have some people who joined in and they said hello. Tara said hello.
Hi, Tara.
Jules 79M joined in.
Hi, Jalissa.
Caddy 0109. And Ahmed just joined in as well. Hello, and thank you for being here. We are live on Mix Vibes Radio. This is the Mindminx show. If we do have our lines open, if anyone wants to call, 718-616-9971 if anyone has a question for Silvana. Don't forget to like, share, and follow us. We are here on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and of course, mixvibesradio.com. And we're talking with Silvana about photography. And I'm looking forward to hopefully doing a reshoot. I think I want to do like
you won the contest.
I did win a contest.
So
it almost feels unfair. It almost feels unfair.
No, it was. I mean, there were certain guidelines that I had other judges that were like, so I knew it was a lot of friends of mine. I was like, I can't choose this. We're gonna go on the art of the Instagram story. and I have my judges choose, and then that's it. I tried doing those polls online for certain contests, like a last contest I did on my business page, SX Studios. But even those are so tricky. They only allow a certain amount of what do you call it? Options.
Okay.
And so you have to separate it, so you don't really know what the answer is. So, I mean, we're figuring it out. I'm digressing. I have no idea what I'm talking about anymore.
But it just makes me feel 100% better that I won now. Yeah. So thank you. No. So that's what we're going to be talking about, whether or not I should do, because I've had professional shoots done and I'm not loving them. And I only like selfies of myself, so that's like on the table. But also, I'd love to do, like, and I still have my wedding dress, and I know it's a lot bigger on me now, but I would love to just see what that, like, his suit, he doesn't even fit in it. He's like half the size he was when we got married too.
Well, at least, I mean, they're all wedding dresses are bigger, and you have to like hem them in, so it's at least cheaper than having to buy a whole new dress, right?
Yeah,
so you're fine.
So I'm excited about that. All right, so we're actually here to talk about a very important topic. And I remember saying to you, I was like, I wish it was August, because August is Breastfeeding Awareness Month. Yeah. But that's what we're going to be talking about. And there's a lot of stigma behind it, breastfeeding in general. And it's really sad. In public, yeah. And we had the conversation that, I'm going to be a grandma. And my, forgive me, Christian and Ara, but my granddaughter's mother has already decided that she doesn't want to. She's young. So we talked about I'm going to have the conversation with her, like what we talked about. So talk to us about breastfeeding. Obviously, we know the benefits of it, but what does that definition contain?
There's just so many ways I can go with this. It would take hours. But I guess the most important thing is the fact that when I got pregnant and I had a baby, I mean, the thing I feared the most was the labor. No one talked about that first horrid year. I mean, some people have an amazing year. For me, because I was exclusively breastfeeding and I was not giving up, I did not have formula on standby. I was like, I'm doing this. I thought it would be easy because I was like, I'm choosing to do this and that's it. Not the case, especially because I had, not specially, the whole other topic of hospital versus home birth. There are a lot of things that happen in hospitals that make it a little more difficult for you to breastfeed, like the separation, the fact that they're bathing the baby, they're doing certain things. Anyway, going back to 2015 when I gave birth to my first, there were just so many things, but the main problem that I had was not wanting to leave the house because I was constantly feeding. I felt I needed to cover her so that no one was watching. I was worried. I'm a very modest person in general. I mean, I used to, which is funny, growing up, I always had my cleavage out. I had no problem sexualizing my breasts. So,
using it to your advantage.
Yeah, I mean, not ever thinking anything else. But when it came down to feeding my child, I just felt you're supposed to be covered. You don't see these on commercials. You don't see anyone feeding their child. You just see a bottle. That's just the norm. So it was very difficult for me. My daughter got very hot. Still to this day, gets very hot. She kept throwing that cover off. Everyone's watching because, you have a squirming baby. They're
it's
screaming.
A bigger spectacle.
Yeah, you're trying to, get your, feed them, and you're trying to cover them, and it's very, very difficult. So I remember coming across a couple of one in particular Instagram page where they were empowering women and normalizing breastfeeding. And then I was just in awe. I was like, wow, I never even thought of that. So I just started finding quiet areas where no one was really around and photographing myself, or having her father photograph me breastfeeding. And it was my way of trying to push myself to do it in public and not feel so scared. And not prefer to just be in the house and not get out, which is it's very difficult. I mean, you were telling your story. I would love for you to tell your story.
So I had 3 boys, and my first son, my body actually didn't produce any milk. So that, right out the door. Second child, I did produce, but he didn't want it. So out the door. But for my third, Marcus, everything was working fine. He was latching on great, and I got to breastfeed him exclusively for almost 2 years. And the only reason why I stopped was because I, again, with my weight loss journey, I wanted it to begin then. And the medication that the doctor was going to prescribe to help me get started would not be conducive to breastfeeding. So that is the only reason why I stopped. But nobody even knew that I had another child because I never went out with Marcus. Yeah. I remember it was like opening day of baseball and softball, and I brought him in his stroller. Mind you, he's almost 3 at that point, I think. And everybody's like, "Who's that?" I was like, "Oh, this is my son." You had another, because mind you, we're at all these sports events with his daughters, my sons, with 4 kids. We're at almost every night, and I wasn't gonna. Plus, I wanted to enjoy watching the other kids. I didn't want to take away from them by having to be distracted to take care of Marcus. So, in an effort to be like that good mom, nobody knew I had another kid. I didn't, I was pumping whenever I would go out. I was pumping at work. I was pumping everywhere, but he was exclusively breastfed, but never in public, to the point where I did it once in public, and it was uncomfortable because I felt like I was fidgeting too much.
You feel like everyone's watching you,
right? You
feel like it's very stressful. It's extremely stressful, and people don't realize. They're just more quick to judge, like, why aren't you covering, or why aren't you doing this, or why aren't you go to the bathroom, we're trying to eat here, which is so absurd. It's like, it's literally what your breasts were made for.
Right.
It's what they're not made to, there's nothing wrong with sexualizing breasts. I'm not saying that's a whole nother topic on itself. I don't want to say there's nothing wrong with it. I just want to say a woman should have her choice to do what she wants with her body.
Right.
And if she wants to walk around in a bikini and show her breasts, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's interesting that people will have no problem with a woman sharing, in a bikini, practically like nothing, almost everything showing but the nipples.
Yep.
But the moment there's a baby latched on there, it's gross, it's disgusting, it's hide it, we're trying to eat, it's like peeing and pooping. Like, what? My baby's trying to eat too.
Right.
And I've been that person that has gone to the car to breastfeed, made sure no one's looking. Even in the car, I'm like, oh my God, they're really watching me. Like, or I've been to a wedding where granted, there were very few dresses you could find that enabled you to breastfeed. I'm not sure if I would have done it at the table at that point, because I was already trying to, empower myself and breastfeed my child whenever. I would always breastfeed her in my carrier. That was my safe place.
Okay.
But if I have a dress on, I can't just take the whole dress off. I would go into the bathroom and feed her in the bathroom, which is disgusting. Like, it's easy to say these things. The point is that a woman should make her choice. If she wants to be discreet, she can be discreet. If she wants to wear a cover, there's nothing wrong with wearing a cover. If you don't want to wear a cover, there should not be a problem with not wearing a cover.
Right.
And this is why I started photographing women in different countries. It was usually wherever I'd go on vacation, I would put a Facebook ad and be like, breastfeeding moms everywhere or whatever.
Really?
Like, I would hold a contest, and I would choose a mom and then photograph her in public spaces. My first one was in Venice, Italy.
Wow.
And it was great. We made, lifelong friends. I still communicate with her. I've done a couple of other places, but my goal is to go to, more landmarks or even countries, Muslim countries possibly, because I don't know the exact laws or what's accepted, but from what I have read and learned, you have to be completely covered in full hijab, but you can breastfeed your child because that's what they're for.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if they're necessarily like whipping it out there, but there's definitely, your face and hair can't be shown, but you can breastfeed your child.
Wow.
So my ultimate goal, once the project grows a little better and I have more funding, is to photograph a mother in these countries in public with safe, security, just to make sure there's nothing, that we're safe. and do something like that. Like that's my ultimate goal.
But that's awesome.
Or sharing every country, all their laws.
That would be amazing. That'd be amazing because there isn't enough about it. Like here in the U.S., what we know about it here is that, you know, boobs are sex. You know, boobs equal sex. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that broader view of it. Like, let's stop talking about it like that's all they're for. Here, they're not just for sex, they're for, because a lot of the comments in the article that you sent me were really intriguing. Like, they, you know, said it was gross. Somebody had wrote that they're tired of people using their breast to get attention. Like,
could I roll like so many times?
And then the last one was by a woman who did breastfeed, but she said that she won't advertise what she's doing to educate the world. So I want to give you kudos because you do.
And it's funny because it's very difficult for me. And I actually, even posting what I did to advertise this show, I spoke on how when I'm in social media, I'm like, you're all in, and then I have to take a big break or I just stop. And it's literally because I am a very private person. I don't want to be out in public. I want to kind of just like go in my hole and hibernate. But I'm also, and that's interesting, every career path I have or every job I have is kind of being that fly in the wall. People think I'm very sociable because when I was managing a bar in Soho, you're the bartender, you're the entertainment, you're basically like making, you know, connecting people. You're getting them drunk, but the experience there is just, it's just about talking to people and kind of just, you're always on what's it called? You always have to be on and
right.
Feed off of people's energy, or they're feeding off of your energy.
Yeah.
But then I go home and then I'm like, okay,
you get to turn it off.
Exactly. In weddings too. I'm not the life of the party. I'm not in parties. I mean, I'm there, but I'm the fly on the wall. I'm enjoying it. I'm feeding off of people's energy, and then I go home. You know, it's necessary for me to have that turning that off. And I digress a little. I'm not sure what So posting these photos are very difficult for me. I judge myself. I judge every aspect of it. I'm like, should I do this? Should I not? But I remember the photos that impacted my life. And it was because that mom, and she was shamed. The photo was actually of her breastfeeding her son and her niece, which tandem breastfeeding is, you know, or breastfeeding someone else's child is a whole nother stigma on its own. But she was so brave, and there's been a few times where she has closed her account or started new accounts, and I'm always following her whenever she is on, but she has to because she gets attacked. A lot of moms that do have a huge following that are trying to normalize breastfeeding, the moment you get that level of popularity, I guess, for lack of a better word, influence, you get shamed. And people, I've had a couple of people actually make small little comments.
Oh, really?
And now we're able to block things or remove them. I try to just kind of just like not let it get to me, but I still want to grow. I still want to be able to help that one mom that can't be in public, that doesn't want to be in public, that doesn't want to share her experience, but can learn. Even if I help just one mom, it's important for me because of the moms that help me. I need to pass it forward, no matter how much I just want to crawl in a hole and just hide. Which sucks because my last baby, I had my phone crashed, basically 200 gigs of our first 2 years, our entire breastfeeding journey.
Oh no, gone.
Like I sent it in to a certain company and they sent it back. It's a common problem. They might be able to fix it in the future. So I'm just holding on to that
just
phone
in case.
And hoping.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's very important to share our journeys if we can to help another person.
Well, I would appreciate that because I had a long drive home yesterday, and I decided, I was like, let me see if I can find some YouTube videos, because I obviously couldn't read anything while I was driving, but if there was a video playing, I could have. Do you know how difficult it was to find? Literally, my topic search was normalizing breastfeeding.
And you couldn't find
Two.
anything.
I found two. That was it. That was exactly that topic. And
Wow.
one of them, just speaking back to the tandem breastfeeding that you were talking about, was from a black woman talking about how there's a even more huge stigma for black women, because for them, they were allowed to breastfeed like back in colonial days when they were not colonial, when there was slavery was was very active.
They breastfed other white women's babies. They couldn't breastfeed their own babies.
Yes, exactly. That's
they
what
were
they
wet
talking
nurses
about.
back in those days.
That made me like the hair on my neck just stood up, because yes, they were not allowed to breastfeed their own children, but they were forced to breastfeed the other babies.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because of the nutrients and the benefits. So it's kind of like, well, your children are insignificant. Our children are more important.
Right.
And it's messed up. It's horrible. So, I mean, now, okay, so we don't have wet nurses. We have formula, which there's nothing wrong with it. If you need it, if it's your choice. But the problem is that there's not enough information. There's not enough pushing, or at least not pushing, encouraging moms.
Mm-hmm.
I had nurses scaring me, saying your baby's not peeing enough, you're not feeding her enough, and ultimately she's gonna die.
Oh my
She didn't
God.
say that, but that's what I felt.
That was
I started
the gist.
panicking, and I was like, I need more water. I just need more water. Just give me more water. I'll be able to feed her. And I looked at my mom, and I had other family there that were like, there's nothing wrong. Moms do it all the time. And I'm like, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to give my child formula. It's
Okay.
my decision. This is my goal. This is my journey. And I don't want to do it. And I looked at my mother, who was a career woman. She probably breastfed each of us maybe like for 2 months, maybe 3 months, until she had to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing in Peru. It's kind of just like, if you're a career woman, you're not breastfeeding your children. That's what the maids do. So it's I mean, that's what I believe. I don't even know. I haven't had this discussion with her, but I do know that her breastfeeding journey was short-lived, and she gave all of us formula. Yet she still turned to me and said, you can do this. You're not going to do formula. It's fine. And I needed that. I needed that from her. And it's sad that so many people don't have that. I hear from a lot of women, their moms are like, no, you don't need to breastfeed. You're fine. Do this. Or even the extended breastfeeding, which shouldn't be labeled extended.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfectly normal to breastfeed a toddler. The World Health Organization actually encourages, for the first 2 years of their life, to be breastfed, if that's your choice.
Right.
It is healthier. I know it saved me through teething, through fevers, through growth spurts, through the cluster feedings. I don't know how women that aren't breastfeeding get through those nights. Like, for my daughter, anything, she cried about anything, I breastfed, I nursed her, and it just solved every problem. So it just makes life a little bit easier and a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that's an important one. Formula is super expensive, and that's only if you're lucky enough to use a standard formula. If your baby, so for instance, my sister had her first child last year, and she's breastfeeding, and there was a moment in time where the doctor said to her, the baby's not gaining enough weight, just supplement.
They do all the time.
Don't stop, but supplement. And they tried, and the baby had an allergic reaction to it. So then they had to try a soy one, which they think he had a mild reaction to, but then she was able to start producing more, and he's growing. So now she's exclusively just breastfeeding.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So and now he's actually on pureed food. She's that mom. There are those parents that are pureeing the food. So there's no what's
baby food.
Yeah, what's the brand? Like, there's no Gerber. There's no.
I
Gerber
didn't
in the
even
house.
do the pureed. I did some pureed with my first, but I was all about the baby led weaning, which I don't know if you know it.
Yeah.
Which terrified me with
Right,
my
so
first.
she
like
won't
the
even
choking
use
with
any.
the- I mean, but it's great for them, and you have less picky eaters because they're not. You don't know what they're putting in that stuff.
So she's making her own. Like yesterday, she fed the baby chicken and carrots, and they pureed it themselves. And I was like, that doesn't look. It looks like the baby food. It doesn't look like when I had to do my pureed foods, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the baby doesn't even want it.
No, but
Like the baby just like throws it.
he
Like, what are you trying to feed
loved
me?
it. Nope. He's like, he's going to the spoon. You know how like when you got to put the no. He's going towards the spoon. So he was definitely enjoying it.
Yeah, I would just like leave the food there, and then they feed themselves. which gives me a break. And not to say I'm lazy. I did it because I'm lazy, but it was more just because they learn, and they learn how much to eat. They learn to gauge, okay, I'm a little hungry, I'm going to eat. And also they have very, very little control. Giving them that bit of independence is very good for them. I've read. I mean, I've there's so many benefits to it, but everyone has to choose their own journey. But to say, going back to what I was saying about having my mom encouraging me, I have heard of moms from friends who, if they're breastfeeding their children for a certain amount of time, it's like, you have to stop. Or even like husbands or significant others, they're like, this is your cutoff. Like, we have to stop this. And to me, it's so absurd. Like, it's your body, it's your choice, it's your, it's your journey. And the longer you do it, the better. I was breastfeeding my first daughter till she was 4. And the only reason why I stopped, I mean, I probably would have, I don't know if I would have stopped anyway. But when I got pregnant, it was very, very painful. It literally felt like she was an infant again, because we had a lot of trouble breastfeeding. I was so tender. So I started cutting it lower and lower. And I was actually looking forward to tandem breastfeeding when the baby was born. And I actually took a picture because I just didn't even like it. I was just like, for me, it was just like all for my little baby. It felt weird for me to have my older daughter doing it. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but for me, it kind of just gave me this, like, I guess, a breastfeeding aversion. So I just think it's important to have people that are encouraging you. If you have a goal, you have people around you that are encouraging you. And the more we talk about it, the more we whip the boob out and feed our children, the more the conversation there's going to be, the more we not even educate others, but just show them, like, this is normal.
This is okay.
And we're okay with it. Like, you can look. I mean, don't stare.
Yeah.
And if you're staring,
are you trying to find a nipple
and
around there?
and you're worried that your husband's looking, well, that's your husband's problem.
That's a personal problem.
Yeah, really. And I used to worry about that. And it's just like, let me make sure they're comfortable. Why am I making sure other people are comfortable? Like, and there shouldn't be anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with saying, do you need your privacy?
That's a different
Exactly. Instead of turning around and running away. I've had a friend of mine who was just like, everyone just runs away and leaves me alone. And I remember being at the party, going upstairs to breastfeed my child. And I'm like, I don't want to be here. Like, no wonder people want to, like, stop breastfeeding. I don't want to be like segregated because
from the rest of the party.
I want to be in the middle of it, and there's nothing wrong with it. Feed your child in front of everyone if it makes you comfortable. I mean, if you want to.
Right.
And if someone else has a problem with it, all the breastfeeding moms out there are going to jump on them. Like, we need to build that community.
They got your back. Yeah, Tara said yay to baby-led weaning, and stop evacuating the room.
Yeah, she's actually the one that told me that story. She was like, everyone just leaves me alone. They're trying to make me comfortable. Sorry, I'm sorry if I'm sharing that, and I shouldn't be, but Tara, she's just like, I mean, they could ask, but they're trying. She said, I understand. They're trying to make me comfortable, but I just want to talk to people. I don't want to be all alone here.
Don't assume I need to be left alone.
Yeah, ask. Be like, do you need your privacy?
Yeah.
I remember being in a camera store. My favorite camera guy, I don't want to mention any names, but he's incredible. Like, I was there with my daughter and I had my infant. There was a chair there and I was like, I got to feed him. He's going to keep crying. Like, do you want a screaming child? Like, I mean, that's the alternative.
Right.
So I just sat down and he was like, there's a room if you want. I was like, no, I'm okay. He's like, okay, cool. And I remember him telling me afterwards, he said, I loved it because other coworkers were kind of like proud of him, like, oh, that's amazing. You had your customer there. I only go to him, actually. Whenever I buy cameras, I email him. If he's not in store, like, he's my go-to guy. And he didn't make me uncomfortable. He gave me the option, which is beautiful. Mm-hmm. I'm glad to know there's a room in a camera store for breastfeeding moms. I'm not interested in using it. I'm on a schedule. Mm-hmm. We got to go.
Right.
And he respected me for that decision and didn't shame me. And to me, that's what's most important. Give the option and allow people to do what they want to do.
Well, you know what? But you had brought up a really good point, because I feel like, yes, we should be given the opportunity to have that choice. That's number one. But number two, if people maybe knew, because I didn't know this, if people knew more, so this is where the educating will come, the benefits. So So like you were telling me that you were under the weather this week, and I said no, don't. You're not gonna be online. And I'm like, listen, go get better, be better for Sunday. And you're like, yeah, actually, I guess one of your children brought it home, so you fell under the weather.
Well, she my oldest child, because she never wants, she still gets hot all the time, even when it's cold. She's throwing off her sweater. We were in California. I was in California filming, and this big project I would love to talk about, by the way, before this. I don't know.
Absolutely.
I have no sense of time ever. It's terrible. But yeah, so it was so cold in California. And I was told, bring sweaters, it's cold, but I thought it was like Mexico weather, like 80 in the morning and like 60 at night.
Okay.
No, it was cold. It was like 1 hour window of like warmth and barely.
Really?
Kind of what I felt like.
Northern California?
It was San Diego.
San Diego, really?
Well, Erica will tell you. She's, what is it, May, God, sorry, Erica. I don't even know. It's June gloom, but there's a May rain, June gloom. I don't know what it is. It doesn't
Tara,
even
if you're there, Tara is with Erica.
Yeah, she's there right now.
So ask Erica
and it's her
to
birthday.
answer.
It's Tara's birthday. Happy birthday,
Tara!
Tara.
Birthday, Tara. Why don't you call in and say hi? I would love to hear from Erica too. Here's the number again. It's 718-616-9971. Babe, do you mind putting that in the chat? I think you were watching my Instagram live. Put the number in the comments.
Maybe.
Please, and give us a call.
So going back to my daughter, so yeah, she still gets hot. She's an overheater. And even when it's cold, the moment she gets a little warm, she throws off her sweater. So she got sick, and I was fighting it. We went and had a day at the beach where it was freezing. So I was fighting it from the next morning. But I was having my lemon and water, and just like I was sleeping well. By the time we got home, I think they were sharing straws. She got the baby sick. He's 2. And I'm with him. I'm still nursing him at night. And he passed it on to me. And with the worst timing, because, I have so many deadlines, so much going on right now. And then I had a wedding yesterday. And then I had the interview today. And I was just like freaking out. But I think this is where you were going with that. My son he was sneezing, and he had every time he sneezed, like explosion in his nose, or out of his nose rather. And but the nursing always cuts it down. Like she's still kind of coughing, and he's already better. He has a little bit of a runny nose, but anytime he gets sick, I'm nursing him through the night, a little extra skin to skin. It still works even when they're 2, when they're 3. You need to boost up your milk. Some skin to skin, shut off your phone, pay attention to him or her, and it still helps boosting your milk. There's nothing wrong with the cookies and the whatever extra things that you're consuming to boost your milk, but I never did any of that.
No.
And I actually want to promote that a little bit more on my page. I just don't have the time, but it's literally like skin to skin has saved my journeys, both of them. It's the only thing that's helped me boost my milk.
Right.
Because if I'm at a wedding, it's
that's
like a 12-hour wedding.
Right.
Even, after a month and a half for both of them, I was shooting long weddings.
Wow.
So I've had every complication that possible. I don't know if I've ever had mastitis, but probably I just didn't take my temperature. I didn't even know. I've had clogged ducts. I've had the blebs. I've had so many different issues. Oof. And God, I'm like on 3 topics
no, that's
right
okay.
now.
Well,
I don't even know where I'm going.
I wanted to bring up the fact that because you were sick and your body fought whatever was ailing it, you created. Oh, we got a phone call. We got a phone call.
Is that Tara?
Hello, caller.
It is.
Hello, Tara. Thanks so much for
goodness,
calling. Is Erica with you?
Is Erica with me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Hi.
Can I say hi to Erica? I haven't spoken to Erica, and I can't tell you how long.
Erica. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi, Erica. Hi, Tara. Happy birthday, Tara. I hope you guys are having fun over there. Jealous.
Yeah, we're heading to the beach.
Oh, now we're even more jealous.
Heading to the beach is probably cold anyway. I'm kidding. I love you guys.
It's actually really warm today. It's been really nice the week Tara was here.
Why? Why are you telling me that?
That's how it always works out. That's all right. She's killing it on the radio, so we're good.
I was gonna prolong the trip, but I had a wedding yesterday. Otherwise, I would have been like, I'm staying. We can't reschedule our flight.
So do you guys have a question for Silvana while we're here? You guys know her best.
I just wanted to say that since Sarah's visiting, she's been so committed to pumping her breast milk and preserving it.
She really has. At the airport, she posted at the airport where she was like, "You can't tell right now, but I'm pumping," and I'm like, "Girl, show those pumps. Like, show them. Let's normalize pumping." I had a whole series of my at a wedding in the bathroom because I mean I've only pumped once outside of a bathroom. They didn't have a space. But if I had another, I doubt I'm having any more kids, but if I had another, I'm going to start pumping while I'm shooting. No, I'm kidding. Not while I'm shooting, but like, yeah, we have to normalize that too. I had a whole series that I wanted to share of my pumping and how I got through weddings and still was able to continue my exclusively breastfeeding journey after my first wedding. With my first was a month and a half. With my second, I had a destination wedding.
Oh, wow.
When he was 2 months. We took him to Belize.
Amazing.
And it was just a lot of travel and it was a lot of craziness. But yeah, the pumping is so necessary. So Tara's been sharing her journey, and that's amazing. It's her first time away from her son.
I think the next step is definitely normalizing pumping.
Yeah. Well, people are doing it. Look.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing that I still do it in secret, and I have a really great pump where I just put it in my bra, and you can't even really tell.
Oh, wow.
So it allows me to, like, move around. I can do anything that I need to do in the house if I'm not with the baby, and I can stand in the middle of an airport and pump.
That's amazing. I need that pump. Like, share. What's the brand?
It's called the Freemie.
The Tweenie?
Freemie, Freemie.
Oh, the Freemie.
Freemie.
Oh, that's it. Well, it's freeing for sure.
Yeah, I'm from the days where the breast pump was like this huge bottle looking thing with the huge thing. Yeah, like there, what you were. I mean, no hiding that.
I had little bottles, but I still had to be connected to a wall, and still kind of like exposing everything. I mean, not everything, but like I was just trying to hide my belly. Otherwise, I would be like, I'll pump. I don't mind showing a little. No, I did. I'm talking crap. I am very like, don't see me. Even when women will come into the room, I'm like, I'm pumping. But I
announce it real quick.
I feel like they've made so many advancements in pumps that they don't make crazy noises anymore. Like, you can't really see like your breast. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but just the visual of like having it like sucked up into this plastic tube. It was just the most undesirable part of like my breastfeeding journey, and I've been, nursing babies for a while now. So
and it can hurt.
Huh?
And it can also hurt. Like if you're not, for me, someone like me, I'm trying to rush through a pump while like you don't get breaks during weddings. So I'm like trying to rush through it. So I'm like trying to squeeze it out, and I caused severe issues on some of my ducts. Because I was like forcing it out in one certain area. So you're basically asking that duct to produce more milk. So those two ducts got clogged, causing the milk blebs, which was so painful. And it's a whole nother thing. It's very all of it's very difficult. So it's important to talk about it, to normalize all of it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for calling in. Please get to your destination safely and enjoy the beach. I want to go back. You're welcome, and happy birthday again.
Thank you. Bye.
So I want to go back to what we were talking about right before they called. So when you were sick and then your body healed, you said it created the antibodies for whatever was ailing your body, and you were able to pass that on to your son. I thought that was so interesting. So not only are you giving, that's where the health benefit, so you're not only sustaining him by giving him food, but you're also giving him the nutrients and the antibodies needed to let his body learn how to defend itself.
Yes, that cows don't have, so formula doesn't have. It's also the body is a beautiful thing. The saliva from your child, whether it's an infant. So when you're actually, there's two things I want to discuss. When you have an infant, you have colostrum.
Mm-hmm.
So what's amazing, if you're tandem breastfeeding your child and you have your infant on one side and you have your toddler on the other, your body, because of the saliva, your body will create colostrum for your
It
infant
knows.
and will give milk
Wow.
to your toddler.
How amazing is that?
And then another thing is, if your child is sick, because you could tell from pumping, your milk is usually white-ish.
Uh-huh.
When you're sick, your milk is yellow. So when your child is sick, so basically when you start pumping and your child is sick, and you're gonna notice the difference in color, because the saliva of your child, as soon as it's nursing, tells your body what it needs to heal. I mean, this is why formula, yes, it helps mothers that need it. When you have working moms, you have these crazy schedules because they don't allow mothers enough time to heal in this country.
Mm-hmm.
A whole nother topic on its
Mm-hmm.
own we won't get into. But yeah, this is so important for children. And there's, again, nothing wrong with doing the alternative if you need to, if it helps you. Everyone has to do what works for them. But shaming a mom or making it extra difficult for her when this benefits that child long term, they get less sick. My daughter was sick all the time, I'm not gonna lie. But anytime she got sick, within 2 days, because of the breast
She
milk,
rebounded.
I would just do
Nice.
skin to skin. It was cluster feeding. We traveled a lot with her. She's been to Italy, she's been to Mexico, she's been to Peru, and we've been through, oh my gosh, teething fevers. Luckily, he didn't have a fever this time around, because they would not have let us on the plane. But they have teething fevers. She's had explosions in her diaper. She's had
gosh.
all these different things. We've had 6-hour layovers, 9-hour layovers. One time we were going to DR. We were halfway there. It's only a 3-hour trip. Halfway, they decided there's something wrong and we're going to fly back.
Oh my god.
And we had a sleeping baby. So on the next trip back, I mean, we're glad we were safe.
Baby. Yeah.
We had a screaming, crazy baby. Nursing just helped it all, through the ear popping. It helps a lot. But yeah, she would always bounce back very, very fast. And so does my son. We
I
thought
love
we
that.
had COVID. We didn't know, but it was in February of last year when it first started, and we all got very, very sick. Not myself, actually, the kids and their father. And yeah, 105 fevers.
Oh my gosh.
And she gave it to him. She had it first. She got it from her father, I think. That was the order of how everyone got sick. And even she has seizures, so
Oh, no.
I have to give her. I'm usually like, they don't need Tylenol, they don't need anything, we could bounce back. But because of her seizures, I have to give it. Even that wasn't bringing the fever lower than 102.
Wow.
For him, I just nursed him the entire time, and it was helping with the fevers. It brought it down to 101. It was still pretty vicious and hard to fight, but I just stayed in bed with him the whole time, and it solved. His sickness was a lot less bad than hers.
Amazing.
So I just think the whole thing is beautiful. Our bodies are incredible.
Well, if anyone wants to be following on this journey, you can follow Silvana on her page. What's your handle on Instagram and Facebook and all that fun stuff?
Silvana is you could tag it Silvana.Ximena.photography. My business is SX Studios. That's my photography page. And then I also have the video booth company, Snapdrops. But I don't know how we're doing on time, but I did want to mention I'm not just a photographer, I'm a cinematographer as well.
Yes, let's talk about this.
And I was in California. We've been shooting a short film. A good friend from college, my college roommate, we actually did an Instagram live together. And I remember speaking to her afterwards. I'm like, I did not promote myself at all. I did not talk about anything that I do. Like, I have the cinematography, I have my video booth. And I was just like, it's so funny. I was so nervous, and I just started going off on tangents that I don't really, touch on the important stuff. And I sent her my reel, and she happened to be looking for a cinematographer for her film. It's for Women of Color Film Festival, in the Summer Lab Film Festival. that she entered.
Okay.
And she had seen my daughter also on a live, and she was like, I would love for her to be my lead.
Wow.
So my daughter is like, I'm finding out, an incredible actress, because she learned all of her lines. She learned, the person that was working with her, she was telling her her lines. She was started whenever she was too tired.
Again, let's say the age, please.
She's 6.
She's 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And whenever she got tired and didn't want to do her own lines, she started saying the narrator's lines. she was incredible. She's
That's
awesome. She's
awesome.
young, so she has a short window of like being able to like do
Pay
it properly.
attention.
And then afterwards, she's the jokester. She's just like, what? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. But no, it was incredible. So we were in San Diego doing the second part of the film. So it's gonna be out. Well, we're working on the editing right now, and hopefully she wins. But either way, they're going to be showing it in the festival.
How exciting is that?
I mean, I'm excited. It's my first time doing it.
I was gonna ask, is this your first time?
I do a lot of video for weddings. I usually do video for other companies and photo for my own. And I've done like a music video. I worked on someone, they were trying to enter a reality show. That was actually my first video ever. I'm working with him when I had first, left the bar, 10 years bartending at this one place. And yeah, I found a new passion. My father was a cameraman, so I was just like, I guess I'm just a natural.
It's a family thing.
I definitely almost like it more than photography sometimes. So it's good. It's nice to do both.
That's exciting. Well, I want to thank you so much for giving me your time today.
Oh no, thank you for having me.
I hope it was fun.
It was incredible.
All right, so I always have to read my
Please.
cue card this time, and it makes me nervous. So that's all the time that we have for today. It's a new week, so go own it and mind your favorite minx and join us next time. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God.